All right, let's talk about dreams. Not the usual weird, chaotic ones that you forget 2 seconds after waking up. No, today we're diving into something much rarer. Dreams that actually solve something. Dreams that have a beginning, a middle, and believe it or not, an end. You know the feeling, right? You're in a dream. Maybe you're being chased by a giant rubber duck, or you're trying to read a book, but the words keep changing. It feels super real, super vivid, and then poof, you wake up. The story's just gone, left hanging. Of course you have. It's that feeling of being cut off mid-sentence, that abrupt, wait, what happens next feeling? Well, that's pretty much the standard dream experience for almost all of us. And that's not just a hunch, it's what the research tells us. Our dreams are usually this wild collage of feelings, memories, and bizarre scenarios that don't really connect. They just don't play by the rules of a good story. But what about the ones that do? What about those rare dreams that feel totally different? You know, the ones that feel like they have a purpose, a point. And most importantly, they actually wrap up with the sense of closure.
Well, there's a name for that. It's called a resolution dream. This isn't a dream that just fizzles out. It concludes. It actually tells a coherent story, sometimes even leaving you with a little piece of wisdom or moral that helps you feel, well, more balanced.
So just how rare are we talking? Get ready for this. Big studies on dream content show that a whopping 90 to 95% of our dreams are left unresolved. They just stop. The vast majority of our nightly adventures never reach the final chapter.
And if we break that down, it gets even more wild. Look at this. For your average REM dream, we're talking a slim 5 to 10% chance of it reaching a conclusion. Even in lucid dreams, where you're aware you're dreaming and can try to control things, the success rate barely hits 25%. It's incredibly uncommon. So why is a tidy ending so hard to come by in our dreams? The classic scientific answer points to a part of our brain called the prefrontal cortex. Think of it as the brain's CEO. It handles logic, planning, and making sense of things. And during most of our dream time, yeah, it's pretty much off the clock. But here's where it gets really interesting. A newer way of thinking, called the Brain Kinematics Model, offers a different angle. Instead of just looking at which brain parts are on or off, it thinks about our minds in terms of energy and flow. And this model says our dreams are running in one of two modes. And this is the core idea right here. On one hand, you have open-loop dreams. That's most of them. They're fragmented, chaotic, and the emotional energy is just kind of trapped, bouncing around until it fizzles out. But on the other hand, you have closed-loop dreams. These are the rare ones, the resolution dreams. They're balanced, coherent, and they actually transform all that emotional energy into a real insight. So an open-loop dream is your classic weird dream. You know the one. It's packed with powerful symbols and intense feelings, but the plot is all over the place. The energy just ricochets around with no real direction until the whole thing just collapses. A closed-loop dream, though, that's where the magic happens. It's like different parts of your brain suddenly sync up and start working together. All that chaotic tension gets channeled into a smooth, coherent flow. And it's that alignment, that harmony, that allows the dream to build toward a real conclusion, a moment of aha. So how in the world does the brain actually pull this off? How does it make that leap from total chaos to crystal clarity? Well, it turns out there's a pattern to it, a kind of predictable cycle. So researchers digging into these dreams found these incredible recurring symbols. This quote points to a big one, a spring in a lake. It represents our deep internal source of well-being, our inner calm, what the scientists call homeostatic renewal. The conflict in the dream is often about this spring being blocked or threatened, a symbol for some kind of imbalance in our real lives. So the whole thing follows this cycle. It kicks off with a disturbance, the spring is blocked, something is wrong. Then comes flow, where the brain is scrambling, searching for connections and meaning. In the balance phase, that chaotic energy starts to line up and organize itself into a pattern. And finally, boom, insight. The dream delivers its solution, its moral, its conclusion. Okay, I know this all might sound a little abstract, but these dreams have a very real, very important job to do. They're not just random brain static. They are a highly sophisticated form of mental practice. Here's a simple way to think about it. Ordinary, open-loop dreams, they're for emotional ventilation. They just let off steam, which is useful. It stops us from getting overloaded. But they don't really teach us anything. Resolution dreams, however, are a conceptual rehearsal. They actually help us learn and lock in ideas on a deeper, moral level. What this really means is that these rare, powerful dreams are your brain's own private flight simulator. They are nightly rehearsals where you get to practice solving tricky emotional problems and reinforcing the very ideas that help you navigate the complexities of your actual life. It's pretty amazing stuff. So the next time you wake up from a dream, instead of just dismissing how weird it was, maybe ask yourself, was my brain just venting? Or was it trying to solve something? Because tonight, your mind might be running a full-blown simulation, rehearsing an answer to a question you didn't even know you were asking.